بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to our program Real Life and Educations. Today we will discuss about one of the subjects, which is a special subject, which is the conceptions of universe in the Quran, harmony and beauty. And of course, before starting, we really we have to of course present our condolences to the Qaidi family for the death of our realizator Qaidi Nazim, who was with us all year, and of course in this in his death it was very sad to all the channel. As I said, I will give you to say words.
May Allah agrees him in his paradise. He was a model of competence, of truth, of a working person, and we had very harmonious relations. Rahimahullah.
And
رحمه الله وأسكنه فسيح جنته وألهم ذويه الصبر والسلوان. هذه سنة الله في خلقه فالموت حق.
As I said, our subject today is about the conception of universe in the Quran, harmony and beauty. Of course, asking questions about ourselves, how people think about their creations, how people think about all what is done around us, how people think about this breathing, people think about the trees has to be planted, etc. For this reason, we need to discuss about the greatness of the creations of Allah Azza wa Jal. And of course, therefore, I'm really happy to welcome our Professor Rashid Mimouni. Welcome to our subject. And lecturer, education expert Tahar Hajjani. Welcome to the subject. As I said, talking about the harmony and beauty of this universe is very vast, and it is the power of Allah Azza wa Jal. And all people, when you reflect to the images and the pictures of universe, you will find Allah is great. Allah Azza wa Jal has created all of that for us to make us comfortable in our universe where we live. Before I don't want to be late on the questions, but I will say, how can we talk about this on the subject of universe?
Well, it's a very huge, important subject, and I think it has to be introduced with Dr. Hajjan Aydan in the educational system. Instead of speaking about hellfire or something, or punishment, we have also to show the uniqueness of the Quran mentioning this. There are over than 1,300 verses related with the universe, every part of the universe, be it cosmos, cosmogony, be it with the water cycle, creation of man, animals, trees, on what we are calling now the biodiversity, environment, and so things. And this is important to mention it because first, the Quran is among the sacred books, the other books, Torah and Injil, it has mentioned verses about the nature. Secondly, maybe I would say that why we speak now about nature. Maybe there are two important trends we have to mention before we tackle the way Quran is mentioning the verses. The first is maybe what we are calling now naturalism. Naturalism is دراسة الطبيعة in a philosophical way. That is, considering it will define it as the belief that the world is a single system of things or events, every one of which is bound to each other to every other in network of relations and law. But naturalism in the 19th century in Europe was a sort of opposite to the religion, in the sense that it was outside the natural order. There is nothing. The miracle of the Quran, it is mentioning these related relations between different aspects of the creation, but relating it to a creator. This may be the first thing we have. And this is what Jacques Berck, the French Orientalist, who translated the Quran, said there is in the Quran what he says a lyrism, a naturalist lyrism, that is outstanding in the Quran. Yani. And then maybe the second thing is that there is, when man has outstepped his roles and has overcome his roles and has created a sort of destroying the nature, there is a return to the importance of nature, the importance of earth, land, air, and something which is being at risk by man's action, and it is mentioned in the Quran. ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس. Corruption has appeared on earth, in the sky, in the seas. This is the realm of man before he could raise up in the sky, through planes or something like that. And he said, through the actions, many actions, but all the actions of man now are threatening the environment. We have to return in the philosophical, the ontological conception to this beauty of the world, of the universe, as we say in the title, harmony and universe. We do not have the right to threaten, and religions has a role to this.
Let's say, let's start from the introduction to the universe. What can we say about it?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. First, Islamic thought is one topic which is missed. And as we know, Islam is a religion of knowledge and science. Mm-hmm. And as Professor said, about verses talking about science, about universe, I could say that 2/3 of Quran is about universe, with the different constituents. Then cosmos or universe includes unseen universe and the observable universe. However, both belong to the created universe, and Islam make pairs of many creators in this universe to say that Allah is the Lord of the worlds. As it is said in Al-Fatiha, all praise belongs to Allah, Lord of the worlds. He said worlds, Al-Alameen. That means there are many worlds. As we talked, there is spirit and matter, which is a pair created by Allah, as there is also night and day, and there is other pairs that we will see later, showing us that Islam, that universe, is something very important in our religion to reach a good belief of Allah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the first of his devotion and adoration was thinking. And before the message, he was going far from his community to think. And our scholars say that the first adoration in Islam is thinking.
You see, I think one or two bases of the worship is when you reflect on the legitimate of a verse, and when you as well looking at, not just looking at, but thinking about the creations of Allah Azza wa Jal. No. If we talk about the moon, we talk about stars, we talk about heaven, we talk about earth, even the verses when they start saying أَفَلَمْ يَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَيَنْظُرُوا كَيْفَ, or some verses saying فَلْيَتَدَّبَّرُوا فِي, means didn't you see the greatness of the moon, the greatness of sun, the greatness of sunrise, the greatness of sunset, the greatness of what we say, the formations even of us. We were before we get into this world. Means all that we have to say that Allah Azza wa Jalla in His creations, He gave us the eyes to look properly, give us the heart to reflect exactly why. For this reason, there's a lot of verses. If I can say a lot of the verses. We start about أَأَنْتُمْ أَشَدُّ خَلْقًا أَمِ السَّمَاءِ بَنَاهَا, means He gave us how the formations of this heaven and this earth. Even when you think about the day and night, some of people when they talk, they say this is like people want the humoristic things. They say when the day goes, where the night is, or when the night goes, where can we find, or where the day goes. This is as example for some people who doesn't think properly, and this is the proof. This is the proof of the creations of Allah Azza wa Jal. Even you see Hamza radiallahu anhu, when he was talking about the creations, and when he was talking about the unify of Allah Azza wa Jal, Tawheed al-Uluhiyya, Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, he was saying, when I walk on the desert, Sahara.
Hamza, the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ.
When he walked in the desert, he said, when I was walking in the desert, I knew that there is Allah, there is one of the powerful who created this universe. I will let you.
Yes, you mentioned some important things. Is about God's creation. Dr. Hajjan mentioned something about the powerful of the greatness of God. But we have to think that the social environment, religious environment at that time, in the Arab city of Mecca, or around the great civilization, around the Pharaonic civilization, the Roman civilization, the Persian civilization, Chinese, maybe it's far away, or Indian civilization, they were worshipping divinities from this world, from this universe. You mentioned sun. For example, we know the famous arguments of Ibrahim about the sun. When his people asked him to worship, he would say, when he saw the sun was over, he said, he's not my God. Then the moon, then the thing. We knew that, for example, Balqis, the queen of Saba, the people worshipped the sun. And even in the Inca worshipped the sun. Then Allah Ta'ala, when He speaks, He is reaffirming His creation of the sun, His creation of the moon. There are people who work, the stars, creating the skies. Even animals, they are worshipping animals. And at that time, it has multi-purpose intention in this. And this shows the greatness of God. When you said, أَأَنْتُمْ أَشَدُّ خَلْقًا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ بَنَاهَا. He says to the man, be modest. Your creation is easier than the huge heavens. On the dimensions of the heavens was not known at that time. And Allah Ta'ala is speaking. He's speaking about alternance, the rotation of the earth, the alternance between night and the dual, between night and day, between creation of pairs, between man and female, and something like that. Then showing the powerfulness through ways. We are going to speak about the ways in order to convince man. What you were saying is fitra, nature. When you said about Hamza, because he was in the desert, he was astonished. People, when you say in the Quran, it is mentioned in the Surah Al-Rahman, the coral, most of the fish are near the coral in the New Zealand on the Australia. It is the beauty of the coral, the beauty of the pearls, without mentioning the fish. Then this is important. He wants to appeal to people according to their different environment. When he speaks about in the desert, for example, he speaks about the palm trees, speaks about the camel, the environment. All has been created by God in order for man to reflect. It's an invitation to ponder over the creation, to reflect upon the creation, and to make to man, to make him by conviction, is the only creature that reflects, has got al-aql, ulil albab, about the God. He's not convincing man of the reality of God through a mystery. It is, although he is invisible, you mentioned the invisible, but he's all visible through his creation.
I mean, when we were talking about the stars and suns and moons and even all the speech, or if you say the discussions,
yeah,
were to the believers and to the unbelievers.
Yeah, true.
Just to make these unbelievers thinking properly about the creations of Allah Azza wa Jal. Before going to that, I've got the questions about how can we insist or confirm to the others that Allah is the creator on that?
Okay, knowing that this universe is huge and it contains many worlds. As I said, for example, spirit world, matter world, jinn world, angels world, humans world, animals world. All these are in this huge universe. It makes it, and they are, all these words are complementary to give, as the professor said, the harmony and the beauty to this universe. Could we say now that this universe came spontaneously or by itself? I think, and I am sure, that this lies in the past and is now over. If the universe is huge and has an harmony and it's a beauty, that means there is who created it with many organization and fashion studied. That means everything is related to everything with a very high organization. This leads to say that there is a creator.
even the verses, well, we go back to the verse. They, as I said, Professor Mimouni, we got a lot of verses. And one of the verses which is, I mean, really not, I'm not saying really important, but I will say was the base of the creations when Allah Azza wa Jalla was talking about the building heaven and earth.
Yeah.
And He gave us the formations of heaven and earth, and saying the heaven was built on the 6 days. And after that, it said, well, it's, as the scholar was saying, الاستواء معلوم والكيف مجهول etc. This is the base of the creations. Now, all this kind of the formation of these creations, sun, moon, stars, they have a purpose on their creations. And this purpose is based on the knowledge of the people. Is you have to convince some people by knowledge. Why do we have the moon? Why do we have the stars? Why do we have this earth? Well, there's a lot of people doesn't think properly about that. But as scholars are saying, there's no things has been built spontaneously by hazards, of, if we can say that. All the things has built by I would say by their own items, and same way, which is وكل شيء بقدر خلقناه بقدر. I will let you explain more.
Well, if we think about it, when you are speaking about the huge, the sky, heavens, or something like that, there are things which appeal to the Arab Bedouin who received the Quran, and there are, or to anybody who sees the stars or heavens. There are other, now in the cosmology, there are other verses which were not understood at that time, which now are challenging, not science, because science is reaching to a point. In the 19th century, they wouldn't introduce the hypothesis of a God. They would say the universe is eternal, is eternal. From now they are introducing with the Big Bang, they're introducing the idea of a creator, because there is a beginning to the universe. And there are verses in the Quran that mention this in a certain way, not only about that God has created. He shows the beginning of the creation. Do not you see that the skies or heavens were a compact unit? كانت السماوات رتقا ففتقناهما. We opened it up, which is the idea of the Big Bang, according to the thing that you could not understand at that time. They repeated it. Then this is about. And the other thing is, we may say that when Allah Ta'ala speaks about this, He's speaking, I would mention one thing. There are a lot of purpose when I was preparing this, although I'm not a scientist, pure scientist, I'm more in the social sciences, but when I saw this, I was browsing through the verses. This is impressive. For example, why we talk about the harmony. Harmony, if you say, for example, harmony in the Quran, it is Surat Al-Mulk. It is one of the most known surat. It is the dominion, Al-Mulk. In the Quran, it is said that at one time, who created the one, Allah Ta'ala, who created He created 7 heavens, and you no one proportionate, and He said, will you see in the creation of God most gracious, will you see a failure? You see, in the creation of most grace. So turn thy vision here, see you any flaw in the creation. He say to you, if you see a flaw, something that is lacking in the heavens, then you say that there is no God, that there is no creator, or the creator created in a wrong way, made a mistake in the creation. And when you see this, it remembers me the epistemologist, famous epistemologist Karl Popper, who is speaking about the principle of falsification, مبدأ الدحض, le principe de falsification. He says to you, now the hypothesis, he says to you that if you want to show, then you have to show the possibility of falsificate this hypothesis, not propose a hypothesis. See the opposite of the opposite. And this is what the Quran is saying. Do you see any fault? Then if you see a fault, then there is no creator. All the creators is making wrong. You see, it's very impressive. This, and he say to you, and he say, and to see that the meaningless of the meanness of the man, of the modesty he has to show. Again, turn you thy vision a second time. يعني ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير. And then again, turn your vision a second time. Vision will come back to thee dull and discomfited, in a state worn out, to see the grandeur of the creation. Then you see, this is very important to see. This is a very, Allah Ta'ala in stressing many times.
There are links between the component of a human being, means the organs of a human being as a vision, and the creations of Allah, of the universe from Allah Azza wa Jal.
There is another thing in Surah Al-Rum. And among his signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the variations of your languages and your colors. Then he sometimes altern between creation and insan. You see, because he's appealing to the intelligence of man. This is, well, I can elaborate on this in many.
Talking about all that means we talk about the vastness of universe. Or can we say about the vastness of universe? When we say vastness of universe, it's not just the moons and stars, and even the winds. When we talk about the winds and about the cloud, of course. When you see the verse of the some of the prophet, when Allah Azza wa Jalla was talking about this prophet, the prophet who were using the winds for themselves, Allah Azza wa Jalla gave them the opportunity of the power, or let's say opportunity, we say the power, to draw the winds and support them in their da'wah.
Before this, I come back to creation.
Well, it is very vast subject says, when we talk about creation.
Allah says He created the heavens and the earth for a reason. بالحق. That means every word that we talked about them in this huge universe, it needs a reason, which makes the environment, the whole environment, this huge environment, with harmony and with beauty and with organization. And he said in another verse that he created the heavens and the earth. If he created the heavens and the earth, how couldn't create things as heavens and the earth? And it means humans, animals, and everything, all angels, jinns. And now if we go back to the vastness of the universe, we have to pay attention for one thing, which is very important. There are 7 verses talking about the creation of 7 earth.
Means 7-7.
7-7. Like this, we can't touch the high level of this Quran and how is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this universe, creating something huge and with a harmony and beauty and organization. That means Allah is very high, subhanahu. He says, it is He who created for you everything on earth, then turned to the heaven and made them 7 heavens. And He is aware of all things. Allah created, and He takes care of what He created.
Yeah, of course.
And organizes the life. He exalted Himself above them and managed them with His power. That means Allah has a big power, and He created them in 7 heavens. Another verse says that then He turned to the sky, and it was smoke, and said to it and to the earth, come, willingly or unwillingly. They said, we come willingly. In Fussilat Surat. That means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say to us, to the humans, that I created this for you. But now you are coming as the earth or as the heavens. You are coming willingly or unwillingly.
طوعا أو كرها.
Allah stays Allah. Why now the heavens and earth came willingly? But why you, as human, you are going out this creation and this power? That is, if we could say that the universe with its worlds, different worlds, is something huge. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says also that we constructed the universe with energy and we are expanding it. We are expanding it. It means it is huge and we are expanding it. And also we stay expanding it. Now, the good question to discuss is why this huge universe is created for a human who is something very negligible.
It's like he's ignoring that. You see, when we talk about universe, is a kind of reminders. See, Allah Azza wa Jalla is reminding us, is reminding us that what I did all for you is just to reflect, to think about it properly, to know that I am here, and you have to be an obeying on me. I am here, I created you, you have to think by doing a good science, good things, which is Allah Azza wa Jalla in the verse, a lot of verses, we've got this أَفَلَمْ يَنْظُرُوا. See, go back and see properly. Go back and think. Go back and remember that what I did all for you. I didn't create you to play games or to do something else. I created you to worship me, and this is the verse which says وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. This is start from jinn and after ins. إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, just to worship me. I don't need from them to feed themselves. I will feed them. I will feed you. Allah Azza wa Jalla says وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ ما أريد منهم من رزق وما أريد أن يطعمون إن الله هو الرزاق ذو القوة المتين. He gave us at the end of, he gave us, it's like results, it's like conclusions. I am the one who feed you. I am the one who's got the power to feed you. What you have to do is to worship me and go to the right way. It is very simple. Why do we have this? We're still talking about the vastness of the universe.
Yeah, well, vastness doesn't mean that Allah Ta'ala wants just to impress us in a very, very authoritarian way only. He's just, or just authoritarian way. He's also showing one thing which is very important, is the aesthetic, the beauty of the universe. In the Quran, for example, it is mentioned the word zayyana, about sky, heavens, zina, beautiful. Husn, there are words like zukhruf, al-jamal, as an adjective, jamil or jamal.
And this is what we've got in Surah Al-Kahf when he said, inna zayyana not Surah Al-Kahf, the other one, the other surah said, inna zayyana as-sama'a ad-dunya bi zinatil kawakib
wa hifdhan min kulli shaytanin. Alors, when he speaks sometimes about the water, the importance of the water into revivifying the earth, the dead earth, he says he creates from you gardens that bahjatin, with beauty, beautiful. He speaks about beauty. Then ahsan, yani ahsan, all these adjectives of beauty of the world. Then he tries to convince us. You mentioned, for example, the interrogative form, but Allah Ta'ala uses affirmative forms sometimes. For example, when he says among his signs are, and he gave a list of things. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَكُم مِّن تُرَابٍ, about insan. ثُمَّ إِذَا أَنْتُمْ بَشَرٌ تَنْتَشِرُونَ. Among his sign is this, that he created you from dust, and then you men are scattered. And among his signs, he created few mates among yourselves, your mates and your wives from yourselves, that you may dwell in tranquility, and he has put love and mercy between. وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ بَيْنَ الزَّوْجِ وَالزَّوْجَةِ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ, is signs from God. And وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, manifest signs of creation of heavens. Among his signs, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ مَنَامُكُمْ بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ وَابْتِغَاؤُكُمْ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. Among his signs is the sleep, even the sleep of man. Now is science proving that we are restoring our forces by sleep, by day, by nights, or by night and by day, on the quest of livelihood, out of etc., etc. Then it's one way of affirming. Allah Ta'ala is the stylistic of the Quran, the rhetoric, the usloob al-Qur'ani is badi'. And he say, and they may, and he say, for example, it is, that is interrogation, for example, affirmation, sort Yasin, Subhana alladhi khalaqa al-azwaj kullaha mimma tunbitu. Glory to Allah, affirmation through the glory to Allah.
In Surah Yasin, we've got plenty verse of...
On the sign from them, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ لَهُمْ نُسْلَخُ اللَّيْلُ النَّهَارِ إِلَى آخِرِهِ. Sign of the night on the sun. The sun runs in its course. The qamar قَمَّرْنَاهُ. When we speak about the sun on the moon, on the moon we have measured for it mentions. قَدَّرْنَاهُ مَنَازِلِ. And in another verse it is said is to will help us to compute, to make hisab, to make calculation, to make this is to make the.
You see, even when he was talking about the days, when he's talking about the numbers of the days and equivalent of the days, like saying ألف سنة كألف سنة, etc. We've got this manazil, which is the steps, yes.
And sometimes he used another way, not only the signs. He used وهو الذي مد الظل والذي مد الأرض. He is the one who's created. And he asked him, man, have you created yourself? Have you created this? This is the interrogation form. Then he make an alternance between those ways. Another way is فلينظر الإنسان. So فلينظر الإنسان إلى طعامه. Now he's come to his food. Let man look at his food, on how we provide it, on what we pour forth water in abundance. إن صببنا الماء صبا ثم شققنا الأرض شقا. Then we split the earth in fragments and produce therein on grapes, corn, on grapes, on nutritious plant, on olives, on dates, on enclosed gardens dense with lofty trees, on fruits, on fodder. Then he speaks to man, to his intelligence. Another way, ينزل الملائكة بالروح من أمره. خلق السماوات. He created directly. He created the sun. He created man from a sperm. And هو الذي. And he said on his how to say, he's هو خصيم مبين. He's an open disputer about the bounties of God. This is about all of these things. Many things you said in Ali Imran, in very many verses, the affirmation, direct affirmation. Sometimes he's used another, I get some interrogation, very intelligent, very gentle, appealing to man's consciousness. أفلا يعقلون أفلا يتدبرون أفلا. Do not they use their reason, do not disagree. ألم ترى, don't you see, Surah Fatir, see you not that Allah sends you down rain from the sky?
Even when we talk about the using of the verbs, sometimes say فلينظر. For example, فلينظر أو فلينظروا أفلا ينظروا إلى الإبل كيف خلقت. Very simple.
Yes.
Why did he use the Ibl? Why did he use the Ibl? Why did he use the Ibl? Because it was the Ibl was the useful animals on that time to Quraysh, for example. Not just that, just that. But when you say أفلا ينظر أو أفلا ينظرون أو فلينظر, it is not similar as saying ألم يرى أو ألم ترى.
No.
When we say, when we talk about the visions, watching someone or looking at someone, it is not similar. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is similar on the explanations or in synonym. Yes, when you say see or watch, same thing. But in Quran, it is not similar. When you say there is one deeper than the other. For example, when you say أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت. Just the things next to them. وإلى السماء. When we talk about السماء, some things which is very close to them. Close to man. وإلى الأرض, same things. وإلى الجبال, same things. جبال, mountains, is next to all that people. When you see all that, you can never ignore the greatness of Allah Azza wa Jalla on His creations. I will let you.
Same thing, he says that in the creation of heaven and earth and the cycle of day and night is إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات. It's proof لأولي الألباب, those thinking, those with contemplation, those who are looking the right, looking for a good reason. these people are believers. إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب. How are they? They are close to Allah, mentioning Him, يذكرونه in all positions. That means when he says that in all positions, that means as you are, where you are, when you are, you have to mention Allah.
And this is the verse you wanted to translate the verse الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم. This is the meaning of what we want to say. To mention Allah, you have to mention Allah in all ways and all time. If you want to be very close to Allah, this is what you have to do.
And he finishes the verse by thinking. الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم ويتفكرون. Thinks.
You see,
they think.
I don't want to interrupt you on the يتفكرون. This is يتفكرون, not reminding themselves. But يتفكرون means خشوع. They have to think, not properly, but deeply. Concentrations on that. Because this is why he's saying يتفكرون. This is, you don't say that by habits, but you say that by concentrations, by knowing what you are already saying about that. Okay.
They think about what? About the creation. يتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض. Then about this creation, about the environment, about what we are looking. That's why, as I said in the beginning, that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam isolating himself far from the community. Why? Just to think, just to for contemplating what is around him. There is a huge space. There is as there is earth, there is sky, there is mountains, there is many things that makes him looking to show first to him that there is a difference between the life which was in Mecca, how population living. Is it the right way? There is a lot of things that doesn't go with his thinking.
I mean, when you compare, when you compare that to, and you just reminded me the verse of, I think it's sort of Zumar, if I'm not really sure, but I think it's Zumar or Safat, one of them. I think Safat. When Allah Azza wa Jalla said, كتاب أنزلناه إليك ليدبروا آياته ويتذكر أولو الألباب. For the completing تدبروا آياته, but who can do that? It is the people who think properly. It's أولي الألباب, the people who got the minds to think. And no one can think properly if he doesn't isolate himself. Not isolate himself every day, but once a month, to remind himself, to remember, to remind himself, to think properly what he's doing, to revise himself for what is already done on that day, on the month of the day or the year or whatever it is.
I want to add one thing.
Before getting the educations,
yes.
By contemplating Allah creations, and it is very, very important. The educations, about the educations, what we need to talk about educations, and as I said, contemplating Allah creations. Okay, I will let you.
I could say that mentioning Allah and thinking about Allah, these two go together. why we aren't as Allah wants us to be, because you don't have these two things together. That's what I want.
That means if we can the balance between the things or the equations of taqwa of Allah Azza wa Jal, it is that what you mentioned, to make the balance between
mentioning and
Allah
thinking.
Azza wa Jal and thinking. Sometimes you got the habits to just mention Allah Azza wa Jal, but you have to mention Allah Azza wa Jal by deeply thinking for what we've done or what we've did before. Okay, I will let you.
Yes, what I would say that the arguments by God, from God is sometimes explaining, is going deeply in the explanation. For example, see you not ألم ترى أن الله أنزل من السماء ماء فسلكه ينابيع في الأرض. See you not that Allah sends you rain from the sky and leads it through springs in the earth, and then He causes to grow, therewith produces various colors, then it withers and something like that. Then He is explaining the same with the creation of man, how he has been created. One of the important arguments, you see it in the Surah Al-Rahman. Surah Al-Rahman, He is speaking, for example, وَالْأَرْضَ وَضْعَهَا لِلْأَنَامِ. He is the merciful, the sort of merciful. It is He who has spread out the earth for His creatures, to the benefit of His creatures. Therein is fruit on date palms, producing spathers, also corn with leaves on stalk from fodder, on sweet-smelling plants. Show the beauty of the expression. But He says after that, then which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? بِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. And then He says again, He created man from sounding clay, like unto pottery, and He created jinns from fire free from smoke. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Then which of the favors of your Lord? 17 times He mentioned that, to make the arguments to man. Which of the creation? Water, seas, and things like that. And this is one of the way of interrogating.
I think it's a sort of discussions between Allah Azza wa Jal and us.
Yes.
And the people, of course, when He's saying, each time He's saying, how can you ignore that? And I did that and did that. And after that, He will go back to, how can you ignore that? It's
That's
like someone is saying, how dare are you to do that to me? And I am always
with you.
With you. I'm always supporting you, reinforcing you. I'm always doing the good things to you. I'm always helping you. How dare are you to do that to me in a time that I am helping you? And I think this is what we call discussions.
Then this is about, when we speak about the earth, not going to the skies only, to the earth. Mountains, you said. Seas, rivers, trees, flowers, cereals, creation of man, grapes, about the animal. In Surah Al-Nahl, it is mentioned a lot of animals. Animals, Surah Al-Baqarah, cows, which helps man with feed, meat, and milk, and something like that. Horses, from riding, transport. We have Surah Al-Nahl, which is giving us honey. There is...
Well, of course, I don't know if we
all
need
the cattle.
We need another
session.
Another sessions for that subject. It is very huge subject, as you education expert Hajjan Tahar and Professor Rashid Mimouni. Our subject is very vast, especially talking about the universe and the conceptions of universe and the beauty, the harmony. There's a lot of verses we didn't get involved. There's a lot of verses we didn't mention. There's a lot of argument we didn't talk about it. But the main thing is, however are we? We have to remind us. We have to remind ourselves that Allah Azza wa Jal created us to worship Him and to stand on that way and to follow the right way. And after that, I will say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.